So, for instance, in what way are large language models changing how we prepare for and conduct negotiation? And what immediate benefits are negotiators seeing?
The immediate benefits are a lot. Let me just say a very, very important statistics. According to my research, only about 16% of negotiators use large language models daily, and even less, around 3 to 4%, use it more than once a day. And these are very low numbers given the power of large language models, if you think of it. Now, how can we use large language models in negotiation? I think there are at least 5, maybe 6 ways. The first one is in the preparation phase. Two very important blind spots we have as negotiators usually going to the negotiation table are understanding the other party's interests, understanding their potential alternatives, and also creating options to create value, to make the negotiation more integrative. I think in these two aspects, large language models are incredible. They are incredible because you can brainstorm with them which can be the real interest of the other party, which can be their alternatives, and how to create value at the table. Very, very important. Another way I use large language models is to role play. I role play with the large language model. I tell the large language model, look, you take the role of the seller, of the buyer, and I will be the other person. So, and we can simulate the negotiation as we do during negotiation trainings together. Another way is to ask the large language model to provide me with a list of objections, of potential objections in the negotiation, and the counter arguments for these objections. So in the preparation phase, I think large language models are fundamental, and they can really enhance our knowledge. The second is during the negotiation. Because it can provide transcript live of what's happening in the negotiation. If you have a break, if you take a time out, it can act as a coach. Think of a boxing match where you have the coach that every round can help you to improve your boxing and the way you tackle the other party. And the last one is learning. At the end of the negotiation, you have the full transcript. You can know where you could have done better. So you can improve. It can be, again, your training coach for negotiation. And what is most important, the immediate benefits are incredible. I'm conducting a research. I employed 120 experienced negotiators, and what I saw is that if you have one of the parties that have access to a large language models while the other party doesn't, if they are a buyer, they will get 48% more value than the party that doesn't have access to the large language model. And if they are a seller, the number falls a little bit and is 41%. So there is also a role difference, but you gain more than 40% compared to the party that doesn't have access to the large language model. It's incredible if you think of it. It's a huge number.
Wow. Amazing. We know that fairness and transparency are crucial in negotiation. Now, could you elaborate on how artificial intelligence may help promote those values? And what potential challenges we should be aware of?
What I think is that if you look at the data from research, and I was mentioning you that if both the parties are using large language models, they achieve 84% more joint gains than negotiations without large language models. And remember, this this research is based on experienced negotiators. So experience is not part of the equation. Now, if you think of it, it is amazing. Another thing that research says is that the outcome is much more fair. The gain gap is minimal. According to my research, was 2.2%. Again, advantage of buyers, as we had previously with the 48 against 41. But the third element is incredible, is that value creation, joint gains occur with a decrease in information sharing. Now, when we teach negotiation, we always say, look, trust building, information sharing are the basis for creating value. But with the large language models, you create a setting where you can create value even in low trust context. Even if you don't want to share too much information, you want to open up. Why? Because brainstorming with the large language models, you explore parallelly the different options. So you are more prepared when you enter the negotiation, but it also gives you more procedural fairness because you know that the knowledge is higher. So what is interesting is that, yes, if both the parties have access to large language models, fairness and transparency increase during the negotiation. It's amazing. It is statistical. Which are the challenges? The challenges are what we said at the beginning, because if you don't use the large language model, the other party will achieve much more gains. So be careful with that, because if you know how to use large language models, you can really exploit them for individual gains. Yes, much more. So see, there are pros and cons in large language models, and there is a huge asymmetry between those using large language models and those don't using it in negotiation. I think we said that also in our previous webinar, but today research confirms that. And because large language models are becoming more and more powerful, the gains you get are increasing. It's amazing. It's amazing. So you don't need to ask questions. You don't need to gather information. Why? Because you can brainstorm with a large language model and enter the negotiation already with some options and some information. So it increases a lot of fairness. Yes.
Okay, well, let's dig a bit further, because of course, we are opening up new perspective for the people that are working with us. So, I mean, we have always, been encouraging our students or executive that attend our workshops to do the preparation, doing writing, preparing the question and do the things, etc., etc. Now, what you're saying is, if you do the preparation with the help of a language model, then you will end up having a lot of this information up front, and you may need to rely less on question and on effective information sharing, right?
Completely correct. And what is interesting is that it increases the speed and efficiency of the negotiation, because a full phase of the negotiation process is, I'm not saying completely skipped, but it's reduced. So it is very, very interesting. And because we know that other party could have used large language models, we increase transparency. We are less reliant on being closed and not sharing information. So there is this power symmetry that comes into play that is very, very important with large language models.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you also mentioned that only 16% of negotiators use language models daily. Now,
Yes. In my research, with 120 experienced negotiators that were part of this experiment, only 16.6% of them used large language models daily, and only 5% of them used it more than once a day. And just to give you another number, yesterday I was in class at university teaching negotiation, and I asked my class with 75 students, they are between the age of 22 and 24, how many of you are using ChatGPT or whatever? And almost everybody raised their hand. And then I asked, how many of you are using it daily? And only 2 of them raised their hand, 2 out of 75. So just to give you, it's quite statistical, but they are not experienced negotiators, but they are students. They are the new generation. So I think there is a lot of hype on large language models on AI, but the people that are making the most of it are very, very few.
mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting.